I'm standing before you to share my views about the merits of One Nation One Election. It is a bill introduced in Lok Sabha by the ruling party to with the ambition of conducting elections all India for state legislatures and parliaments together. But it has faced various implications, and I am here to present some benefits of conducting one elections at once in India. The first point is it reduces the expenditures of government. According to 2015 parliamentary committee report, it was stated that India spends 45 billion in conducting elections. So we can use that amount in social justice and delivering some good policies to citizens instead of spending on elections. We can cut down the amount and conduct elections simultaneously across India. And the second point is it lessens the stress on administrative and security forces. When elections are conducted, security forces have to visit from one place to another places. Administration is shuffled, various officers are transferred from one place to another places for the code of conduct, for the sake of code of conduct. And it's really stressing for election commission to conduct so many elections in a year. And it third point is it allows us to focus more on governance rather than conducting elections. As we can see, the term of parliamentary elections is 5 years. The term of parliament is 5 years. In 5 years, we can come across various elections of state legislatures and of all states. So we don't have proper time for policy implementation. Rather than everything is revolving around politics and focusing on next elections. So conducting election at once is not a bad thing. It's beneficial for us to keep elections at a side and focus more on policy implementation. The next point is various people living outside India and who are away from their hometown had to come to their hometown to vote in the elections. Like they have to come for parliamentary elections and state legislature elections twice. Many people are residing outside country also. If it is conducted once, they can come and vote at once and leave back to their places where they work. So it will increase the uniformity in voting and it might increase and encourage voting further. And if this doesn't happen, I'd like to tell what if we don't take it as a positively. What do people do in India is look at the any initiative of government as a party motive, not as a government motive. So if ruling party is implemented, we think that ruling party will get benefits, and opposition always makes the ruling party initiatives its prey to damage their political ambitions before the public. And media creates controversy and raise their TRP and conduct various useless debates instead of focusing what's good in it and instead of what's good in it, clarifying what's good and what's bad in it. And last thing I want to tell is if we focus more on, if we keep debating on these topics, it will create unrest in democracy. Instead, we should come at a place, think and decide whether it's good or bad. And I guess one and many what do you say against points are there. People tell that it is undermines federal structure. Like Delhi people, they vote they vote for Aam Aadmi Party and vote for National BJP in their elections. They know very well when to vote. They have parameters of voting. So we should focus on parameters of voting instead of telling that it will affect our federal structure. And it will not create voting confusion as your voting free will is not going to be taken away. It's with you, you can vote to any party in both the elections at once. And it doesn't favor national parties and regional parties because everyone knows what the work of regional parties has done to them. Most of the social work and social justice is done by regional parties. So they know very well to vote regional parties in state legislatures and vote for national parties with the ambition of seeing India with the what do you say, intention of seeing India as a whole unit. So I think voting for both of the elections for state legislature and parliament is good for India. Thank you.
Sorry, my friend. I'm Talha from BA final year. Today I'm supposed to say about one nation, one election. Generally, one nation, one election means election happens in both stages, like in Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies.
You're going to speak for or against?
I'm speaking for.
Tell that clearly.
I'm speaking for. Okay. In one nation, one election. Generally, it means election happens in both Lok Sabha and state legislative assembly. Does it sound a new concept to you? No, it is an old concept. Let's move back to ourselves to history. When we were under British colonization and we got freedom from British colonization in 1947. After a few years back, in 1952, the general election was held. It was held in simultaneous manner. Not only in 1952 and then 1957 and 1962 till 1967. Okay. Let's move further. It has some positive attributes and features of simultaneous election, also known as one nation, one election. Firstly, it is cost effective. According to Hindustan Time reports, during 2019 elections, the Election Commission of India spent around 60,000 crore. It is not a small money; it is a huge money. Instead of wasting that money in election for like it is for temporary basis, that money can be used in building public infrastructure, which in order bolster the economic development of country. And second, it will increase voter turnout. Like formerly, normal election. In normal elections, the voter percentage is comparatively low. But in simultaneous election, it will increase the voter turnout because of psychological pressure on voter to exercise his vote. And third point, it reduces the cost of political parties. According to some reports, the expenditure made by all political parties is approximate 1 lakh crore in previous election. We are living in a country where our country is struggling to solve the issues like social, economic, political issues, and we are expending so heavy money on election, specifically on election. It is a horrible thing to say. And okay, let's move. Moreover, in international level, I missed one point. After normal election, for politician, normal election acts as a apparatus or a stage to promote hatred, to instill communal violence in communities, like raising voices like Matan, Masjid, Mughals, Mandir. Moreover, on international level, several countries have adopted this system, like South Africa, an important African country. It has the election in South Africa has a two levels, like center and as well as in provincial level. And second, it is Sweden, European country. The election in Sweden happens in three levels, like center, provincial, and local municipality level. All of these example sounds enough to you, but I have further example for prestigious Indian bodies who are declared its supports to simultaneous election. Like Election Commission of India in 1986. 1986 declared that and supported by saying it bring back simultaneous election. And secondly, the think tank of India, which is an important body of Indian government machinery, said that simultaneous election is feasible for India because it ensures smooth approach of governance. Thirdly, our former election commission, that's in 2020, that is Sushil Chandra. Sushil Chandra has also commented and declared his support by saying our election commission of India is ready and prepared for conducting simultaneous election. At the conclusion, I will say that if you want to see our nation developed by socially, economically, politically, and having values like social harmony and serving justice, so simultaneous election will play a pivotal role. Thank you.
Before I begin, let me remind you that India is not just a country, it's an emotion. It's a fusion of culture, languages, ethnicities, etc.
In the beginning, you should tell your views. In the beginning, first. Then there's no emotion. Yeah, go ahead.
So today I will talk about the topic that threatens this threat of democracy, that is one nation, one election. So let's start with the most glaring issue that one nation and one election will pose, that is constitutional and legal hurdles. There will be a lot of constitutional and legal hurdles if you impose one nation and one election. For example, for synchronizing and aligning the state elections, we might have to dissolve state assemblies and impose president rules. As Dr. B.R. Ambedkar said, president rule is nothing but just a dead letter. So not imposing president's rule and imposing president's rule will be very harsh. It will not just create administrative chaos, but it will also lead to direct assault on autonomy of the states. In Tamil Nadu, voters care deeply for the regional issues such as the issues of fishermen. In Punjab, voters care about decreasing the prices of MSPs and also about farmer reforms. But if one nation, one election is held, then the regional voices will be lowered and the regional voices wouldn't be heard. That's another problem. The voice of a Tamil farmer won't carry the same voice as of a national leader. For example, as Abbas said that frequent elections will be very much expensive. Yes, I agree that frequent elections might be expensive, but as you can see, he also said that we can vote differently for Lok Sabha, we can vote differently for state legislative assemblies and for national assemblies. But how should we prove our mistrust, or how should we show our dissatisfaction if the elections are not held every now and then? If the elections are held every now and then, we can show our dissatisfaction. For example, in 2024 elections, UP was the most powerful area of Modi, but UP did not win most of the seats. Why? Because people showed the dissatisfaction what they had towards them. And also, democracy is not just about efficiency; it's about empowering the people. The BJP argues that one nation, one election will save resources and bring stability. But I ask you, what will it cost? See, if an election costs 10,000 crores, then it will be a grand experiment. But what will be the cost of silencing the regional voices? What would be the cost of breaking the spirit of federalism that is mentioned in the constitution itself? What would be the cost of breaking the basic feature of democracy of India? So, I would like to conclude my words by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. He said that democracy is not a form of government, it's a form of social organization. It's fragile, it survives only when every voice, no matter how small, it's heard. Thank you.
Myself, Muhammad Imran from PA second year. I am talking against of this topic, one nation, one election. Why should we not conduct elections simultaneously? So, my first point is, as we conduct elections simultaneously, it will look like a dictatorship where only powers will be used by center and state powers will be like don't give importance to states as they give importance to center, and it leads to federalism. And my second point is, as my opponent said, it costs less, but to make simultaneously elections, we have to improve voting machines and VVPAT, which is used during the election. To manufacture, we need more machineries. Then also we have to spend more. And then my third point comes about safety. During elections, we see like rallies and some like dangas we called in Hindi, and fights will be going on. To control. Nowadays, while we are not having simultaneously election, but we are facing lack of safety. If we start doing elections simultaneously, then we need more armed force. To make more armed force, we need more money to bring people together and to give training. And after giving training, then we have to pay them. So it leads to cost mostly. Then, according to my opponent, he said we will develop infrastructures. According to him, by saving that money instead of making, according to him, we can make infrastructure better. But according to me, if we are doing simultaneously elections, then government which is formed at central will focus only on central infrastructure. They will not look at like panchayat, like in villages or state level. As nowadays we have system like central government, state government, and Jilla Panchayat and Panchayat in village level. So for Panchayat, in problems regarding to village, we approach to Panchayat, where they will solve the problems of like agriculture in villages and roads, etc. if simultaneously elections happen, like people will think I have voted once, why I have to go next time and we have to vote. So because of this, voting fatigue will increase and number of voters will decrease. And my another point is, as we go on, as according to my opponent, he said starting 3 or 4 elections were held simultaneously. Then why it was broken? If we bring now, we need that guarantee that it will be continued forever. If we do again, if once we think that if Karnataka has if Karnataka government has fallen, then presidential government will be implied. Then what about? Then we have to wait. If we think that elections are happened and it took only 1 year to fall the government, and what about other 4 years we have to do? If we start imposing of presidential government, then the title of democratic India will convert it into dictatorship. So by these words I want to conclude. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. I am Mohammad Udair from Bellary. I am in support of this motion, one nation, one election or synchronization. So before getting into my point, I want to add some more basic point for introduction of this topic or a debate, which is one nation, one election. So this is the 129th amendment of the Indian Constitution, brought in by the Indian Government of India, which includes the insertion of Article number 82A, which talk about the synchronized elections of state assemblies, central assembly, and the union territories. It also states about the tenure about the assemblies. So when we take the earlier scenario, when the Lok Sabha or when the House dissolves in its midterm and when it is re-elected, it is to get extra 5-year term. But according to this new principle, the government which is going to elect again will only get the remaining time. For example, if a government loses its confidence in 3 years, if some other government will only get chance for another 2 years, means completing only 5 years. So this is what a soft and sweet ethics about this amendment. So now I want to talk about why I am in the support of this motion. So as my friends already mentioned about this, it can bring the greater turnout than making out the multiple elections in the country. So it also reduces the public fatigue and the security members' trouble. And number 2, it brings the economic stability and the growth. So when there are multiple elections again and again in a time period of 1 year, so business activities and economic activity can't run in a better way. So, or in the way that it should run to give boost to the economic development. So this can be the good game changer in order to boost our economy. Number 3, scarce resources. Many of our opponents are taking this lightly, but the scarce resource, the word itself is scarce. So we need to take part and we have to plan. We have other things to do. Like in India, it's a developing country. We already have many challenges, like we have to deal with poverty, unemployment, illiteracy, etc. So we should also step in to also go a bit further. So now I pass on to counter the arguments made by our counterparts, that they said that local issues can't be addressed with this. So there can be provisions made to this. We can set up an advisory committee in order to advise our representatives in the local level to make and frame good policies. And another most important point is we can build a public level consensus in order with engaging with the NITI Aayog and inter-state level commissions to make to include all the concerns from center and state level and make the policies effective for both center and state. And the last counterpart is that they also talk about the federal, how it implemented by disrupting the federal structure of India. So, the federal structure of India, so they also said about many provisions can be break down, like the president provision and the state provisions. If you want to gain something, then you have to lose something. So there are many countries like US and other countries, other developed countries, Germany, Sweden, which already adopted this, and they have better provision. Now I want to conclude this by saying India is a developing country; it has a lot of challenges. So the reason I am in the support of this motion. Thank you.
Good afternoon, my name is Ayan Sheikh. I am here to speak in the favor of One Nation, One Election. One Nation, One Election, in simple terms, it is elections to both houses, that is Lok Sabha and, not both houses, both central and state, that is Lok Sabha and state assemblies. So, one of my opponents told that presidential rule is a dead letter. Means if you impose a presidential rule, then it is a dead letter. Then means why should, if some any emergency declared or anything happens, then we impose presidential rule in any state or any, for example, any country. So if you are imposing presidential rule in that situation, then it is not a dead letter. Why should then we should consider dead letter for that also? So this is one point. Next, one of my opponents also told about EVMs, VVPAT. That means we should carry more EVMs and all. To carry those EVMs, we need logistics. Of course, we need VRLs and all. Government of India uses VRL to carry all those things. So their expenditure will be very heavy. So it won't cut the expenditure. It will obviously cut the expenditure. Next is recurring elections. That means Lok Sabha and against state assembly elections can they get displace these paramilitary forces. For example, BSF, CRPF. In a village, if there is a polling booth, then there we should deploy border security force or Delhi police, means special forces for that, only for that polling booth. So this can be a very heavy expenditure for government machineries. Next is we can like policy continuity. If One Nation, One Election can, if it happens, then there will be a policy continuity. They will amend something or they'll form a new policy. Then it will be continued 5 years. There will be nothing like it will continue. Next is we can have like obviously there will be so here are some what we can say committees which have favored One Nation, One Election. First is Ramnath Govind committee. 80% of these committee people have respondents who they have favored One Nation, One Election. Next is, as my friend told, NITI Aayog, that is a think tank of India, they have also supported One Nation, One Election. Next is, there is another committee called Venkat Sarya Committee that also supported One Nation, One Election. So, in conclusion, I would like to say that One Nation, One Election can help government to focus on developmental activities rather than increasing expenditure to state elections. We have 28 states, 8 union territories, and in that we should conduct elections for every state and union territories. This can increase the expenditure. At last, I would like to say that we have one nation, one identification, that is Aadhaar card. We have one nation, one product. So we similarly we should have one nation and one election.
Secondly, and I'm here to speak about One Nation, One Election again. Against One Nation and One Election. So my first point is about amending articles. If it is implemented, there are some articles which have to be amended. For example, Article 356, it speaks about presidential rule in state. So it should be amended and its term should be enlarged. So it makes some difficulties. And Article 170, which reduces the term of reduces the term of state assembly. For example, recently Karnataka state assembly elections are got held. If it is implemented, then they have to dissolve their house and re-election should be made. This is like some type of partiality making with this state government. So this makes some. Now I want to counter some points that my opposition said. First point is about my opponent said that it is implemented in South Africa or Sweden. Means I agree that they are implemented, but did you make difference between India? Did you observe that India is a large country and South Africa, Sweden are small countries? There are difference between these countries. India is diverse and large, and it has large population, so it makes difficult for simultaneous selection. They are small countries. For example, I want to give you example of small household and large household. Is situation same for small households and large households? No, they have different situations. Some maybe, and another point I am to counter about one of my opponents said that simultaneous means continuous selection makes burden for those who are staying away from India, means foreigners. It will be burden. How it will be burden? If you think that for coming marriage or for coming for some festivals, you think that it is your duty to attend those festivals and those programs. Why did you think that it is your duty and you should come? It is your duty and you should come, and you should. There should be no exception that my expenditure will be large, so I can't go. So I want this counter. Another one, cost saving. Means I want to give an example that everyone is saying that this election may cost, means continuous election may costly. It means I think, for example, does everyone buy ration for homes? If you think that, which ration will you buy? Means which have finished in your home, that you will buy. Or will you think that if I buy now, I will get wholesale and I will get in low price. Will you do that? Or will you buy when it is finished? So I want to say that it's not either cost effective, means we should not say that they are implemented, we should not be implemented. There are different situations and different practices. So based on, we have to take the steps. So thank you.
मैं मोहम्मद आरिफ खान तलहा का पेरेंट हूँ शिमोगा से, और मेरा अपना सेल्फ इंट्रोडक्शन, मैं सर्विस में हूँ एग्जीक्यूटिव इंजीनियर इरिगेशन डिपार्टमेंट से। तो आज सबसे पहले मैं सभी पेरेंट्स की तरफ से आप अकेडमी वालों को जो है ये हमें मौका देने पे बहुत ही हम लोग खुश हैं कि हमें मौका दिया गया कि अपने बच्चों का जो है अपने बच्चों का फीडबैक आपसे लें और एक पेरेंट्स मीटिंग आप अरेंज करें। तो बहुत खुशी की बात है एज ए पेरेंट्स। और पिछले 5th ईयर है तलहा का, मगर इससे पहले के 4 सालों में जो है एक पेरेंट्स और एकेडमी की तरफ से बहुत ही कम्युनिकेशन गैप रहा करता था। उसमें बच्चों का प्रोग्रेस क्या है और यहाँ का सिस्टम क्या है किसी को पता नहीं चल रहा था। बट इस साल अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह आप लोग ये जो टेस्ट कंडक्ट कर रहे हैं और उसका मार्क्स शीट्स वगैरह पेरेंट्स के ग्रुप में पोस्ट करने से हमें अपने बच्चों का प्रोग्रेस जो है पता चल रहा है। और भी इसमें कुछ ऐड ऑन कर लें तो आप बहुत फ़ायदेमंद होंगे पेरेंट्स को। जैसा कि आपसे हम लोग बात करने पे और भी ज़्यादा इंटरेक्ट कर सकते। यहाँ पे किससे हम कांटेक्ट करना है, यहाँ पे एक जिम्मेदार जो है उनका कांटेक्ट नंबर और उनके तरफ से जो है टाइमिंग्स भी अगर मुतय्यन हुआ तो एक डिसिप्लिन भी रहता है कि कभी बस अपने को याद आ गया तो फ़ोन कर लिए, डिस्टर्ब किए उनके प्राइवेट आवर्स में, ऐसा नहीं होना है। तो एक स्पेसिफिक हो कि आप एक टाइम टेबल भी दे दिए पेरेंट्स को तो यहाँ पे जिम्मेदारों के साथ बात करने के लिए बेहतर रहता है। और रही एप्लीकेशन वगैरह के हर चीज़ आप लोग पेरेंट्स ग्रुप में जो है अपडेट करते रहे तो हम लोगों में भी जो है नहीं बच्चों को डिसिप्लिन लाने में हम भी पुश कर सकते हैं। और अपने साथी पेरेंट्स को ये बता सकता हूँ मैं कि जो है डिसिप्लिन हमें यहाँ पे हमारे बच्चे को डालने के बाद हमें एक्सपेक्ट करना नहीं है, हमारे घरों से हमारी पेरेंटिंग से डिसिप्लिन आना है, तो उसका भी हम ख्याल रखें। बस इतना मुझे कहना था, शुक्रिया।
यहाँ पर तशरीफ फरमा वालिदैन और स्टूडेंट्स और मैनेजमेंट कमेटी वालों से मैं सबसे पहले शुक्रगुजार हूँ आपका कि आपने मुझे यहाँ पर दो लफ्ज़ कहने का मौका दिए। एक वालिद होने के नाते आप जब यहाँ पर हम सब जमा हुए तो आपने यहाँ पर बच्चों के बारे में जो जिक्र किया, जो बात रखी, वो बच्चों की अच्छी कैरियर के लिए, उनके फ्यूचर के लिए आप समझकर सारे जो गलत फहमियाँ हैं बच्चों और टीचर्स के बीच और बच्चे जो गलत कर रहे हैं उसे भी आप अपने तौर पर वालिदैन को बताएं कि बच्चों को किस तरह से रहनी चाहिए, क्योंकि बच्चों को अदब और एहतराम वालिदैन से पहले सीखना चाहिए, क्योंकि वालिदैन से आता है पहले। बेसिक जब अच्छा रहेगा, पाया अच्छा रहेगा तो अच्छी बिल्डिंग बनेगी। तो ये ख्याल रखना चाहिए। आप तो बच्चे ले रहे हैं, आप समझो SSLC के बाद PU डिग्री वाले बच्चे और भी आगे ज़्यादा पढ़े हुए बच्चे भी यहाँ पर मौजूद हैं। आपको इनसे कुछ सीखने की जरूरत नहीं, आप खुद सीख कर आना चाहिए। यहाँ पर आप जहाँ पर जो अकेडमी में तालीम पा रहे हैं कोई मामूली अकेडमी नहीं है। आप दूसरे अगर कोई दूसरा होता था और होता, लेकिन जो जहाँ आप तालीम पा रहे हैं वो हिंदुस्तान की सबसे बड़ी मुकाम रखने की एक पोजीशन के लिए जाने वाले हैं। आप सब IAS IPS ये कोई मामूली नहीं है। आपके वालिदैन की उम्मीद रहती है कि हमारा बच्चा भी कुछ IAS बने, IPS बने, KS बने, अच्छे ओहदे पर जाए, हमारे जैसा ना रहे, आगे बढ़े, देश के लिए कुछ करे, हमारे लिए कुछ करे। और जो आपके लिए कर रहे हैं, लाखों रुपए लुटा रहे हैं, क्योंकि कौम के बच्चों की खातिर, उनके आगे अच्छे मुस्तकबिल की खातिर उन्होंने जो ख्वाब सोचा है उस ख्वाब को सही तरह से ले जाने में आप सबकी मदद चाहिए। वो चाहते हैं कि कौम के बच्चे आगे बढ़े, अच्छे अच्छे अहदों पर काम अगर जाएंगे तो यहाँ पर जो मजहबी जो मुश्किलात थे, जो हमारी जो कमजोरियां हैं वो दूर होंगी। उस पे काम करते हुए उन्होंने लाखों रुपए यहाँ पर रहमान साहब आप सबके लिए लगा रहे हैं। ये कोई मामूली बात नहीं है। और यहाँ पर मैनेजमेंट में भी हर व्यक्ति बढ़ चढ़ कर अगर कुछ कहते हैं तो वो आपके लिए कहते हैं, उनके बच्चों के लिए, उनके खातिर नहीं है। जहां तक मुझे मालूम है जो भी बात होगी अपने मुस्तकबिल के लिए, अपने फ्यूचर के लिए आज आपको फैसला करना होगा। आगे चलकर अगर आप यहाँ से निकल जाएंगे तो कुछ भी फैसला नहीं कर पाएंगे। मेरे हिसाब से ये बड़े अच्छा एक प्लेटफॉर्म है आपको आगे बढ़ने के लिए। हर बुराई को धक्कार कर बाजू हटाते हुए आपको आगे बढ़ना है। आगे अगर आप यहाँ से निकल जाएंगे तो कोई आपको पूछने वाला नहीं रहेगा। अगर कुछ बनना है तो आप यहाँ से अपने मुस्तकबिल के बारे में, अपने फ्यूचर के बारे में सोचकर आगे बढ़ना है। देखो हम गैर मजहब के लोगों को, बच्चों को देखते हैं, हर साल हमारे डिस्ट्रिक्ट से ये क्या तो IAS IPS ऑफिसर बन के आ रहे हैं कोलार डिस्ट्रिक्ट से। इस पिछले वर्ष भी एक आया था, इस वर्ष भी एक यहाँ पर IAS ऑफिसर बन के आया है। आप भी बन सकते हैं, क्यों आप में भी काबिलियत है। एक 2-3 साल में अगर आप मेहनत पढ़ लेंगे तो आपके लिए बहुत आसान हो जाएगा आगे चल के। अब इस बात पे ना ठहरे कि ये हमसे नहीं हो सकेगा, ये क्या हम कर सकेंगे। अगर ये सोचेंगे तो पीछे रह जाएंगे। आपको सोचना है, आपको रोज अखबार देखना चाहिए, कन्नड़ा हो, इंग्लिश हो, उर्दू हो, रोज अखबार देखना चाहिए। जनरल नॉलेज भी आपको रखना चाहिए, देश में क्या हो रहा है, रियासत में क्या हो रहा है, हर एक की आपको पहचान होना चाहिए, हर एक चीज आपको मालूम होनी चाहिए, जब फिर जाकर आप आगे बढ़ेंगे। मैं बहुत सारे प्लेटफॉर्म पर बात करता हूँ, गरीब से गरीब म्यूनसिपल में झाड़ने वालों के बच्चे KAS IPS इंजीनियर बन के आगे बढ़ रहे हैं, कि आप क्यों नहीं बन सकते? आप पे क्यों काबिलियत नहीं है? मैं आप सबसे गुजारिश करता हूं कि ये इस टाइम को आप बर्बाद ना करें, मुफ्त में जाय ना करें। अगर कुछ आपके टीचर्स, आपके यहाँ पर डीन और जो भी लेक्चरर्स हैं, अगर कुछ कहते हैं तो आपको थोड़े वक्त के लिए आपको बुरा लगेगा, लेकिन आगे चलकर आप अच्छे पोजीशन पे जाएंगे तो आपको वही बात समझ में आएगी कि उस वक्त जब हम पढ़ रहे थे तो वो हमें इस तरह से कह रहे थे, हमें वो आपके पढ़ाई के लिए, आपके फ्यूचर के लिए। इस बात को मैं मद्देनजर रखते हुए मैं आप सब यहाँ पर आए हुए स्टूडेंटों का, सीनियर जूनियर सभी इकट्ठा होकर एकजुट होकर आप सब हिम्मत और ताकत से और अपने जो इल्म से आगे बढ़ेंगे तो इंशाअल्लाह आप जरूर कामयाब होंगे और इस रहमान अकादमी के लिए एक नई छाप छोड़ेंगे। इस बात को कहते हुए मैं यहाँ पर मुझे 2 लफ्ज कहने के बाद जो आपने इजाजत दी, आप सबका शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ। अस्सलाम।
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आप लोगों का यहाँ पे आने के लिए। बहुत सारे पेरेंट्स नहीं भी हैं, लेकिन मुझे लग रहा है आप लोग ज़्यादा जिम्मेदार हो गए हैं। जिनके पेरेंट्स नहीं आए, अब यू बोलना अपने पेरेंट्स को आने के लिए, ठीक है? और ग्रुप में जो भी डाटा है, जो भी रिजल्ट है, जो कुछ भी है, अपडेट होने रहेगा।
तो पेरेंट्स नहीं आए, उनको 15 दिन के तक बुलाना है, जिनके मार्क्स कम है वो, अगर वो नहीं आए तो फिर जो बच्चे मार्क्स कम आ रहे हैं उनको घर भेज देना है और पेरेंट्स के साथ ही आना है। ये बात क्लियर कर रहा हूँ।
तो और एक सर ये बोलना मिस गया, अब अकेडमी की क्लासेस तो चलते रहती है, आप रिजल्ट देते रहती है, लेकिन कॉलेज के बारे में भी सोचना चाहिए, क्योंकि कुछ वो भी रिजल्ट अच्छे आना चाहिए ना। तो आगे अब एग्जाम्स बहुत नज़दीक हैं, बच्चा को उसके ऊपर भी ज़रा ज़्यादा फोकस करके उनको अच्छा पढ़ने की जरूरत। हाँ, बहुत पढ़ के, क्योंकि एग्जाम्स में रिजल्ट देखते हैं सर्टिफिकेट वो भी पढ़े। हाँ, जरूरी है।
और कॉलेज के बारे में मतलब जो भी कॉलेज आते हैं वो अपने पेरेंट्स को रिजल्ट अपडेट कर दिया करो, है ना, कि क्या परफॉर्मेंस रहा, तो पेरेंट्स को पता चलेगा वहाँ पे क्या कर रहे हैं। अकेडमी का रिजल्ट हम फॉरवर्ड कर देते हैं, इन कॉलेज में क्या होगा वो फॉरवर्ड कर देना चाहिए। तो मेरे को लिख के हमने ऐसा किया है, फिर उनसे बात करेंगे, है ना। और इनसे रोज़ शाम को अगर बात होती है आपकी तो इनसे पूछिए एक बार कि आज दिन भर क्या क्या पढ़ाई की, सुबह कितने बजे उठे, मतलब नमाज पढ़े नहीं पढ़े, क्लास अटेंड की नहीं की, पर पूछिए शाम को, है ना, कि आज इन्होंने दिन भर क्या क्या पढ़ाई की नहीं की, या मुफ्ती में बता दिया नहीं, ठीक है। उसके बाद फिर रिजल्ट लगातार चेक कीजिए, मतलब हर वीक में एक टेस्ट होता है, सीसा का तो कंपलसरी वीक में फ्राइडे का टेस्ट होता है इनका, है ना। मंडे तक रिजल्ट आ जाता है, फ्राइडे इवनिंग में आ जाती है, रिजल्ट चेक कीजिए। फिर मार्क्स कम आते हैं, फिर बात कीजिए क्यों कम आए, पढ़ाई क्यों नहीं किया, या GS का टेस्ट होता है, फिर उसका रिजल्ट आता है, मार्क्स आए, क्यों फर्स्ट सेकेंड थर्ड रैंक में क्यों नहीं आए, क्यों मार्क्स कम आए, इनसे बात कीजिए। फिर उसके बाद जो भी चीज़ें होती है, जैसे हॉलीडेज़ हुआ तो हॉलीडेज़ में कितने दिन की वैकेशन होगी उसमें अपडेट कर दिया जाएगा। जिस दिन हॉलीडेज़ खत्म होगी उसके अगले दिन सुबह या उसी दिन शाम को, जिस दिन खत्म होगी यहाँ पे होना, तभी हो जाके यहाँ पे फिर अगले दिन से क्लास कंटिन्यू हो पाएंगे, है ना। अभी क्या होता है, छुट्टियाँ खत्म होती है, अभी 10 दिन हम इंतजार करते रहते हैं कि सब आ रहे। तो इस बार इसीलिए हमने मीटिंग किया है कि मतलब इस चीज़ को इम्प्लीमेंट करना है स्ट्रिक्टली, जैसा सर ने इनिशियली पहले बता दिया है कि अगर ये चीज़ इम्प्लीमेंट करनी है तो थोड़ा स्ट्रिक्ट होना पड़ेगा हमें भी और आपको भी। अगर बच्चे लेट आ रहे हैं तो अभी हमने ऑलरेडी वार्निंग दे दिया, अगर अगली बार लेट आ रहे हैं तो वो फिर वापस लेट आने की ज़रूरत ही नहीं है, बेसिकली वो वापस ही चले जाएंगे, है ना। क्योंकि यहाँ पे अभी सीधा टर्मिनेट किया जाएगा अगर इनडिसिप्लिन किया जाएगा तो। बाकी स्मोकिंग के बारे में मैंने ऑलरेडी बता दिया कि अगर फाउंड स्मोकिंग तो उनको फिर से इन्वेस्टिगेट कर दिया जाएगा, ठीक है। उसके बाद फिर क्लासेस वगैरह जो होती है, जो एक्सरसाइज वगैरह होती है या सुबह उठने का टाइम है, उसमें इन्वेस्टिगेट किया जाएगा। एक तो वार्निंग दी जाएगी इस छोटी सब चीज़ों में, लेकिन उसमें भी फॉलोअप नहीं करता तो फिर वहाँ पे भी एक्शन लिया जाएगा उनके खिलाफ, ठीक है। और बाकी ठीक है। फिर मतलब नेक्स्ट डे पेरेंट्स मीटिंग होपफुली हम 6 मंथ्स में करेंगे, और जिनके पेरेंट्स नहीं हैं उनको बुलाएंगे अभी 2 वीक के अंदर। बाकी नेक्स्ट पेरेंट्स 6 मंथ्स में
मीटिंग देंगे
3
महीने में एक मीटिंग करो, बच्चा का प्रोग्रेस मालूम होता रहता है। अब 6 महीने के आप 6 महीने के बाद आपको जाना तो कभी नहीं होता। अब बच्चा की मुस्तकबिल के बाद
अभी तक तो हमारा प्लान था 6 मंथ्स
हर एक पेरेंट्स का एक दिन वेस्ट होता है। 3 महीने में एक मीटिंग रखो बेहतर है।
जी ठीक है, हम प्लान करके आपको अपडेट कर देंगे इस चीज़ पे। ठीक है, अभी तक तो प्लान नहीं था, लेकिन ठीक है, हम इस पर डिस्कस करके आपको अपडेट कर देंगे। ठीक है, शुक्रिया आप सभी का।